I've booked hundreds of sales calls, sending over 100,000 cold emails. This is the first cold email that I ever sent back in 2021. It's actually kind of embarrassing because this email was extremely bad. I got this script from Bastion Slots and it didn't really work that well, but it got me my first couple clients. The email reads, "Hey, I can send you people who are in need of termite control clients without you having to rely on word of mouth. When do you have time for a chat this week?" Reply with a quick yes with the best number if you can take on more termite control clients. Reply with a quick no if you're not interested. Let me know, Carson Fox. Not sure why I didn't proofread this email before I sent it. As you can see, we have this section where it says reply yes or reply no, and it looks very, very robotic. I got a lot of responses of people saying that it was spam, and so I had to change something up. I realized adding this to the email made people immediately lose attachment to it. Like if it looks automated, they're immediately like, okay, I don't care as much, right? So if it's from a real person, they're gonna care. But if it looks like it's automated, they're not gonna care at all. For example, a team of researchers somewhere in London took a whole bunch of people and put them through an fMRI machine and showed them a series of images. The images were either from AI or humans, and the ones that were from humans, they said they liked those more, even though they were the exact same photos. And it's not only that they liked the human images more, their brains' pleasure centers actually lit up brighter when seeing the human images. So people are going to be way more excited and intrigued when being reached out to from a real human rather than a robot, which is kind of obvious. Everybody kind of already knows this. So we need to do everything we can to make the email look like it's coming from a real person and not being automated. So I started taking out this section of the email. Also, the grammar on this email was extremely off. Like anytime I write a script now, I always read over a couple times, and if I stutter over anything while reading it, then I know I need to rewrite that part of the script. Because if I'm stuttering on this, then I know something is off with the script. Either the grammar's wrong, or the flow just isn't right, or it's on an advanced reading level. We want to make sure it's on a 6th grade reading level or lower. Also, my capitalization was off in this email, and I didn't have any variables. So variables are just things that you can input into the email to make it more personal to that person. So you can add their first name, the city that they're in, their company name. And so I started adding these variables into the email and I started getting a lot more replies. So something like, "Hey Michael, I've got 7 people who need their roof replaced in Fresno this month. If you're interested, just found ABC Roofing online and thought I'd reach out. You open a chat sometime this week." So we want to make the email sound like it's talking directly to that person. So we add variables to make it more personal to them. And sometimes I just see people saying, "We can bring you more leads," or "We can bring you more customers." But this just isn't specific enough. Like if we're reaching out to a specific industry, you want to reach out specifically to them. We want to have an offer specifically to them. And like customers or leads speaks to everybody. So if I'm reaching out to pest control, I would say something like, "Hey, I can get you 10 bedbug heat treatments," because I know for pest control companies, that's specifically what they want. Let's just say you're a marketing agency or a staffing agency or a PR firm, and you can target multiple companies. You can help everybody. That's still cool. That's awesome that you can do that. But when we're doing campaigns, we need to reach out to that industry specifically. We need to go out with an end result to that industry as well. So for roofing companies, you'd say, "Hey, we'll get you 10 more roofing jobs," right? That's the end result that they want. So I started sending thousands of more emails with a more direct and more personalized approach and started getting a ton more replies. And now the thing about scaling cold email is that it's just really annoying. You only want to make sure that you're sending 50 to 100 emails per email account that you have, and you want to make sure that your email is warming. Warming is basically you have your email sending to other email addresses and those other email addresses sending back to you, and so it's just sending back and forth, so it looks really personal, it looks really human. And so it starts building the reputation of this email account, and so you want to warm that email account up for about 2 weeks. Now there's a ton of different automation softwares that allow you to do this, that they'll warm it up for you and everything, and they'll send the emails for you, and you can set them up on these automation tools. There's one called Instantly, it's pretty popular. There's one on AppSumo right now called Mistrika that you can check out. I don't recommend using Lemlist or any real software that makes you pay per email account that you have. Like there is no reason you should be paying $60 per email account. So make sure you just look for the best value tool and also get a tool that already has a warming function built into it and a sending function. And when you're sending emails, you want to make sure that you're not sending to invalid or fake emails, because if you do that, then it hurts the reputation of your email account and you'll start ending up in the spam folder. So you'll need to clean the email lists first and find only the valid emails. Now, there's a ton of tools that allow you to do this as well. Now, I use one from AppSumo. It's called Reune Email Verifier. Now with cold email, your response rate is going to be around 1 to 3%, and your positive reply rate will be even lower than that. So in order to increase your positive reply rate, I would try to make your offer sound a little more irresistible to that audience. And one of the best ways to make the offer sound a little more irresistible is just by removing risk and then adding a win-lose guarantee. So sometimes I'll say, "If it doesn't work, you don't pay me," right? So that's just removing risk. Or sometimes I'll even go as far as saying, "If it doesn't work, I'll literally pay you $3,000. Now I've never really had anyone take me off on this offer. I never really had to pay anyone $3,000 just for sending them this email, but it does get a ton of people interested and get them curious, and so they respond to my emails. Now, if you're getting positive replies on your emails, you need to make sure that you keep the email thread as short as possible. No one wants to play 20 questions on email. Like no one's chatting back and forth on email. So we only want to ask yes or no questions and keep it very, very specific. So what I'll say is, if let's just say they say that they're interested in our offer, I say, great, are you free to chat Monday at 10:30 a.m.? Let me know so I can book it in, or you can use this link to book. So now all they have to do is say yes or no, and if they say yes, that ends the email thread and we book the call and now we're good. I wouldn't just send a link, because the more that we give them to do, the more we try to make them do, the less likely they are to convert. So if they have to click a link and then book a call, every single step that they have to do is just more work for them, and it's going to make them think twice about actually doing it. Because if I just say, hey, can you do tomorrow at 10:30 a.m.? All they have to do is say yes or no. But if I give them a link, then they have to just select the time, select the date, fill in their information, and all that stuff. And so also what I've also realized is that even if you give them a link and you have a whole bunch of extra questions, the more questions you have, the less likely they are to book. And so you want to make it the form as easy as possible, make it short, make it small, and just make it as easy as possible for them to book. And some people also say like, well, I don't want a whole bunch of unqualified leads, but to me, I'd rather have 50 calls and have a lower close rate, right? Let's just say a 10% close rate on 50 calls than a 20% close rate on 10 calls, because I make more money with 50 calls. As I started sending thousands and thousands of more emails, I also started trying other outreach strategies. So LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram, and all those other channels started working really well for me too. So if I were you, you don't have to just stick to what everybody else is doing. A lot of people do cold emails, but I wouldn't do cold email just because everybody else is doing them. See where your audience's eyes are at. So if you're targeting an audience and they're on a Facebook group, then reach out to them on that Facebook group, because it's probably really easy to catch them on there. I've done this for a lot of different industries, and I noticed that almost all the industries are different. And so just because someone tells you, hey, do cold email and do it this specific way, that might not work for you, right? It's not going to be the best solution for you. Like, every industry is different. So you need to conform to what your audience wants, or where your audience's eyes are at, right? Go where they are. And as I started to send thousands of more emails and thousands of more messages on LinkedIn and Instagram and all those other channels, I started to realize the optimized approach is a 3 email sequence. And so I made a whole video on my 3 email sequence and my script that I use, so you can watch that video next. And if you want a system to consistently book 120 sales calls per month on autopilot using a whole bunch of automations, you want me and my team to help you set it up for you, you can book a call with my team below. I'll talk to you guys soon.